Well, hello YouTube, how you doing? Look, I just wanted to show people, like, especially if you're testing components outside of a computer, or, sorry, correct me, outside of an actual case, which I've got right beside the camera at the moment. With this type of stuff, just putting it on these types of surfaces, and off the edge of the actual workbench you may be working on in particular, mainly because of, if you just want to run the component straight on the bench, pretty much straight off. I find putting it off the end of the table because there's always a little bump, a little metal thing that always goes on the edge, so it's just easier to have it running off the edge of the table. But once you get it running off the edge of the table, basically if you have it set up like this, power supply there, these are things plugged in here like there, basically as long as it's on a non-conductive material you should be fine. Try not to use anything. I think this is like a little foam thing I'm using at the moment, which is not a very conductive material. Basically, as long as it's a non-conductive material, you're fine with most stuff. What I normally end up doing is just leaving it run on the bench like that for a while. I'll plug in a spare hard drive that I may have lying around like that. Just a laptop hard drive, doesn't need to be a new one. Basically, what you do is I install an OS. I installed an OS on that little drive there, this little one here. And what I've managed to do with installing an OS on there is I test the components. Basically, I find out whether the components are going to be able to run an OS firstly, and if the components can actually function with an OS on there. Basically, if you haven't got for example, if you haven't got a CD-ROM, an actual CD-ROM, another little handy thing to have, which I've found is personally something that I buy as part of my, that I reckon any technician should buy as part of their tech kit these days, is this. It's a portable CD burner slash DVD burner slash DVD-ROM. Pretty much the best piece of kit you can have when you're trying to do this type of stuff, because you can plug it directly into a USB port on the motherboard, and you can boot up and you can get the OS working, pretty much. So it's just a case of that, hooking it straight in, and most of the time you can boot off a USB drive anyway. Not a USB drive, sorry, correct me. You can boot off you can stick a CD in here and basically boot the OS. The OS CD you need to install. So that's a good piece of kit to have, and it's definitely the most intelligent thing you can do when it comes to that type of stuff. I found personally it's made my life a lot easier for installs on laptops that don't have a DVD burner, and it's just made my life easier in general when I'm trying to do this type of stuff. Because when I used to do this stuff before, it wasn't as easy. So it's made my life a bit easier. It's made things a little more, not as difficult, and a little bit easier to get along with most things. Now, at the end of it though, I'm trying my best here with, basically, as I said, as long as you have a non-conducting material, I've got a back plate there and everything else, a couple of SATA cables just to make sure everything's working. I can run another SATA. I mean, if I really want to test a CD-ROM or a DVD-ROM that actually hooks into the power, I've got an extra converter here. With a SATA cable, obviously, and I can do that. But I mean, basically, set it up like this, like a power supply there, your stuff on a non-conductive area, and basically a nice wooden bench, like I've got here at the moment, which, is a nice bench. It's pretty well done for my electronic stuff, in the sense of all the stuff that I do with it, and yeah, it works pretty well. So, that's the best advice I can offer with that. Also a recommendation as well, lighting is a key factor as well with this. I have, at the back of this bench, I have a couple of brighter LED lights. You can actually probably see those or not, but as you can see, bottom stem of them anyway. These are these two LED lights, and they're basically got a very bright LED light. So if I want to look on the inside of a computer and I don't have a particular amount of light, and I'm working at night, or I'm working at a dark time of the day or whatever, or it's a really rainy day or something, it's really good to have those there, particularly for that purpose. So another thing I would recommend too is an automatic screwdriver. best piece of kit you can also invest in as well when you're doing a lot of this stuff, because the amount of times, you know, you have to unscrew and re-screw things, and sometimes, you know, it's just easier to have one of these because it gets the job done quicker in most cases. Have situations where it's not always the case, but sometimes it just depends. But yeah, get one of these. I think these are on Kogan.com, this one in particular. Yes, it's Kogan. It is a Kogan brand. So these are on Kogan.com. They're not too badly priced, and they're a good investment in the long run. Generally, because, you know, when you're doing a lot of this stuff, you want to be in and out quick when you're doing a lot of the stuff, but especially taking stuff apart. It's one of the better things I've found personally. So what the hell is this? It's probably that. Roll that up. Maybe probably got a bit of bacon in there. Yeah, no problem. So I'm going to roll this up. Roll that up, sorry. That's okay. So, as I said, that's the best piece of advice I can give there. And when you're working on this type of stuff, especially electronically speaking, always try to, you know, go with non-conducting materials. And I don't know, as I said, this little workbench I get here is absolutely perfect. It does me for the type of work that I do and the type of things that I get up to, basically. So yeah, I'm not arguing too much with that. And then you've got lighting factors as well, but most of it's pretty reasonable. Got that. So yeah, those are definitely things I would offer. But as I said, from past experience, with most things, I find setting the computer up on the bench before you start building into the case is the best thing you can do for it, especially for testing purposes. Tells you general temperatures and stuff, because I mean, normally when you put things into a case, there's more pressure on the temperature side of things. So I mean, it's still an idea to test it while it's in the case. But I found from personal experience, putting it on the bench like this and just putting it together, basically getting everything running, is the best way to work the entire situation out. I've got 2 gigabytes of RAM, so maybe I'm trying to try and put 4 in that computer. I don't know, but I'll see at some point. Anyway, that was just a little intro to the thing as to the sort of stuff that you do when you're building computers, and as you can see right here, I've got the case. So that's pretty much ready to go when I'm ready. So at this point, this is basically running a nice burn-in test to get everything working properly. It's pretty much the procedure in most cases. So, alright. Anyway, thank you very much, YouTube. Hope you enjoyed my videos as per usual. If you'd like to like and subscribe, leave comments if you've got some comments on videos. Thumbs down or thumbs up, depending on your point of view. Subscribe to me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Twitch TV, and Google Plus. All those lovely services, yes. And as always, stay tuned, more to come.